I think a hardline series would be amazing. Like, because there's so many places that you could do an insane hardline, and the whole concept of hardline is like just good. I love it. So more hardlines, I'm up for it, and sign me up.
Yeah.
So I was doing a full run, got a bit windy on the first jump, so I was like, on the first big one, I got a bit blown. So I was like, I tucked, and I thought I could squash the next jump and stay low.
Yeah.
And as soon as I squashed it, I was like, I'm gone.
Oh man.
Yeah. I wasn't going to wear chest plate as well. I wasn't going to wear my back plate because I was like, and then because I don't normally wear one.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll probably wear it because it's hardline. And then honestly, I cracked the chest plate.
Whoa.
And I was like, fuck me. If I didn't wear that, my chest would be fucked.
Right. Kaos Seagrave, welcome to the Downtime podcast, man. How's things with you?
Not too bad, mate. Big up for having me. Just got back from Crankworx and ready to do this.
And Crankworx, it went all right, didn't it?
Yeah, it went pretty good. Did whip off and speed. Managed to win whip off, which is always nice. And then I was on the podium with Edgar and Cade, so it's always good being with them.
Solid crew.
Yeah, just rode with them all evening and then be on the podium, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then speed, just got kicked out. I messed up a few tricks and then got kicked out. But then that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Saw Cade crash, which is
he hit Bartek, right?
Yeah, he hit and then just went massively over the bars. Like did a front flip.
Man.
So that was quite funny to watch because it's Cade. Like obviously he's always gets back up. So we were just laughing because we're like, obviously he's just him.
He's just gonna bounce.
Well, then he got back up and then he did the next round.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would have just been like, oh my god.
He is a solid unit. Yeah,
definitely.
How does speed and style work? I've always kind of wondered that one. It seems like quite a strange event and quite a hard one to zone in on.
Yeah, it's pretty good to be fair. Like you, you're two of you and you have two jumps on the slalom course pretty much, and like one in the middle, like near the start, and then one at the end, and then you have points on the jumps, and whoever goes the quickest and does the best jumps wins. And then you qualify, you do on your own, and then it goes round to 32, round to 16, 8, 7,
Do you find it hard balancing the two aspects, like the speed aspect and the style thing? Because they don't always go hand in hand, eh?
It's pretty hard to be fair, because you always, like when you practice tricks, you go into the jump with your speed and you go, like you're chilling and you're doing what you do. You're not doing it next to someone trying to beat you at a race, and then you're pedaling into the jump and you're like, wait, I'm going way too fast and I'm supposed to do my trick. So that's what's like kind of like fun and sketchy about it, because you got to adapt and do other stuff,
especially for you as well, because you've got, I think it would be fair to say your style's quite kind of lazy and smooth almost. Like there's a slowness to your style in the air.
Well, it's speed and style, but it's really speed and tricks. Because if you do style tricks, you're not going to get that many points.
Right.
So I'm just learning tricks that I'm able to do when I'm going fast. Because so then I'm just practicing on a few tricks and hopefully I can get them better.
So that's something you're like specifically working on away from those events, is it? Like trying to learn tricks that you can do at speed, or
no, I just think of it then like, I can do them at speed and style. But no, I'm just doing my tricks so I can do tricks. I'm not learning them to be like, I'm learning this to go to speed. It's just then I'll be able to do them at speed and style, but I just learn them for myself at the moment.
Makes sense. Talk us through a whip-off event then. Like, how does it work from your perspective? Is it just like you have a window of time and you just session and...
Yeah, so nowadays I think there is practice before.
Okay.
So I think there was practice in Innsbruck, but I've done that jump so many times now, every year for the last 4 or 5 years. And now like when we whip, like with Cade, Edgar, Han, Jackson, all that lot, I don't know about them, but when you do your big ones, like when you're just like doing like, you know what, I'm going to do a big one now. Like it's been good whipping and now I'm just going to throw one. They're not like, don't know, they're quite like, if they go wrong, a whip's a horrible crash. Like you just high side and then you're just like, I don't really want to do them like all the time. So like I always say my perfect whip off would be 3 or 4 jumps.
Okay.
Like,
So you keep it kind of chill and just warm.
Yeah, but then you do get in the hang of it. Like when like in Innsbruck, I wasn't going to do that many runs, but then you're just having fun with everyone, so you do end up doing loads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always said that you only need like half an hour.
Fair play.
But there's so many people and stuff, so you can't really do that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so hour and a half or 2 hours at most, but an hour and a half as a whip off.
Yeah.
And you do like an hour of session and then half an hour of like finalist.
Okay. Yeah. And so, do you think you could go and smash out like a winning whip straight away, or do you need to build through the session a bit? Like you're saying, you hold back a bit from doing the
I don't
whips,
hold back, but I just like you're just whipping and you're like still trying to do big ones every time. Like you're still like having fun, but then like you don't want to do it like second going, because then there's a whole hour. So then you'll be like, well, that was 2 hours ago, really, that whip. So you can't really win with that. So I normally try and keep the best one, like my best whips till the last 3 runs. Yeah.
What do you think makes for a good whip? Because everyone's got like a slightly different style, I would say. Like they don't all look the same.
Yeah, it's just fluid, I think. Like, because they're so different. Like me and Cade whip completely differently.
Yeah.
But we've both got a sense of style to it, and then that's how they are.
Yeah.
It's like on the moto whip, to be fair. Like you watch all of them, even though they're all whipping, like it's just a whip, but then there's 10 riders and all 10 of them do different ones. So I guess it's just, I just think you just got to go sideways and bring it back.
Yeah.
I think bringing it back's the most, like, because if you land 90, then you're most likely going to crash, and that crash hurts so much.
It's going to hurt,
Yeah, I've had many of them.
I was going to say, you've had a few, right?
Yeah, and they're just so annoyingly painful.
Yeah, not good. And it's a judged event, right? And your background, I guess, is from timed events. How do you find that judged element of it? Because it's hard to be...
Obviously, it's hard because, like any judged events, because it's just then on, like, because if I was a judge at a whip-off, I'd be thinking of what I prefer, and what I prefer isn't really what other people would prefer. So it is just, it's just, that's why it's always good when you win.
Yeah.
And then, because, like, obviously then people, I don't really know really. It's just, it's judged.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like sometimes, like during the whip off, you know who's going to be there. Like I knew you obviously knew that Edgar and Cade were going to be there, and I felt like I was doing good ones. So I was like, I'm doing pretty well. But like I remember when I first started them, you'd do like 2 runs, and you already see our dog doing the best whips ever, and you're like, well, he's going to win, isn't he?
That's clearly gone.
Clearly. So it's just whoever.
Yeah.
But you can it's judged, but you can kind of see who, like, it's not really,
you know where it's going.
Yeah.
Do you always feel it's like the right person that won? I mean, clearly when it's you feel it's the
when
right
I feel
person.
But most of the time.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, like Whistler, I feel like one year, like last year, I could have done well. I've never podiumed at Whistler.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do that. It's like the first one and
the
and
original.
shit. So I was like, never done podium there. So I'm like, but sorry to the Whistler locals and shit, but that jump is shit to whip.
Really?
Well, it's just,
what makes it so bad?
It's just a long table.
Okay.
Like you're coming in flat out, and it's just a long table.
Yeah.
Like, I like big like doubles and like a bit, not stepped up, but a bit like the landing is a bit higher than or like the same. Yeah. But not like, it's just a long table. So.
Yeah, fair. That Innsbruck one is pretty stunning.
Yeah,
like.
The Innsbruck one's insane.
Yeah.
I reckon a bit bigger, and that would literally be the best whip jump ever.
Nice. Do you ever look at who's judging then and think about like, well, what you know about them and like how you might tailor what you're doing, or is it always just doing your thing?
I honestly just turn up and have fun.
Yeah.
Like, don't really, like, at the end, like, it is just, like, it is a whip off. Like, if it was like slope style, then I would.
Yeah.
Like, then I'd be like, right. But it's whip off. I just want, like, you just do it for fun. And then when you win or podium, then it's like, oh, yes, bonus.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Is it decent prize money for that?
I want a K.
That's all right, isn't it?
So, yeah.
That's pretty good for an hour and a bit's work.
An hour a bit of doing whips. I'm like, sound. So yeah,
nice one, mate. And you, like you say, you're often up against one of your best mates and your sister's partner, Cade. What's it like, sort of traveling the world with him and basically almost living with him, I guess, as well?
Well, I do, yeah. Well, he's just moved out, to be fair. But yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way. I love it. Spend most of my days with him, ride, and then we obviously travel together. Not anymore this year.
Okay.
I've only traveled, like, didn't even go to Darkfest together, to be fair. But normally travel with him quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then, like now, in like a week or so when he gets back, I'm traveling with him to Hardline and other stuff like that. So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, we're always together, and it's pretty good to ride with Cade.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. And
definitely.
Yeah, and he's my best mate. So
nice. Do you think your riding influences each other? Like, have you grown as a result of the two of you riding together?
Yeah, like I wouldn't have been so into like dirt jumps and like tricks and stuff like that if it wasn't for Cade, because he's always been into that. And then I guess he's quite aggressive.
Yeah,
and
style.
quite like so I guess I've like helped him with being more like fluid or something. But I don't know. I don't really feel like he's Cade, isn't he? So yeah,
two very different riders.
Yeah.
Very similar in a lot of ways, but very different
similar,
styles.
but so different.
Yeah,
like he's just like Brooke and Bragi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like just try and be smooth and trying not to like, because I'm just chill.
I like it. It's cool, man. Let's take it back a bit in time. You grew up in France, right? Were you born in the UK?
So I was born in Croydon,
yeah,
and then moved to France when I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Something.
Do you remember much before France, or not really?
I remember like one day at school, or like
nursery or whatever,
and stuff, and then like half a Christmas, and then that's it.
Fair play. So growing up in the Morzine area, yeah. And how much older is Tani?
She's 4 years older.
4 years older. Okay, so a fair gap.
And then we got I've got a 9-year-older brother.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's the three of you out there with your family. And was it kind of Tani that got into riding first? Was that like the root of it for you?
Yeah, so she got into riding, like we owned a chalet, which was on top of where we lived. And that was my mum's job. She was a caterer and stuff. And then people and then teams started to come. And then my parents were mates with like Nigel Page, and that's when that's when he was going out with Vanessa Quinn.
Yeah.
And then they helped Tani out with like her first proper bike. I can't remember. I was like 5, so if this might be the whole. This is how I remember it.
Yeah.
And then that's why she started with Baby Blue bikes.
Okay.
That's what Vanessa had.
Yeah, that intense.
And then, the intense. And then I just got Tani's hand-me-downs from there.
Yeah.
And then, she got into biking first, and then that's why we got the team, because it wasn't, back in the day, it wasn't that big into female riders.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a lot
young
harder.
Female riders,
yeah.
So my dad was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself.
Fair. So you grew up riding in one of the best areas in the world for it.
Yeah.
Like, did you fall in love with it pretty quickly? Like, you got so many good tracks around there.
From growing up, the summer was mostly just me and my sister and our mates, and whoever stayed at the chalet. We just went to Plenty and just did Plenty all day.
Yeah.
So before I moved to the UK, I didn't really do anything else other than just bomb Plenty laps. Didn't jump, I did a few jumps and stuff, but it was always just Plenty laps. You couldn't take us off it.
Fair. And I guess Tani was away quite a lot racing. Was it natural for you to sort of follow her, or were you going anyway as part of the family crew going to the races?
So we've kind of always been at the races, because then my mum she cooked for Chain Reaction and the Aftons a few times.
Okay.
So we went to the races, and we'd always go to like Chambéry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the local ones, go watch. And then, so we're always there. Like, I've been at the World Cup since I was 7. I remember Chambéry 2007 and stuff like that. So, just always been around. And then, because I remember like in my first year junior, I was like, oh, I'm finally racing to the people who I've known for ages. And they're like, oh, we just thought you'd been racing before, because I've been around for just hanging out and being that little annoying kid.
That's cool though, right? Did that help that you had that sort of familiarity with the scene and all the people? Did it make you feel more comfortable when you were old enough to go race it?
Oh, it just felt like a second home, the races. That's just what I grew up with. And and
you've done a bit of racing before you hit World Cups, right?
Yeah, I'd raced some IXS, and we came over for some British rounds. And stuff like that. But so I've always, like, since I could, I would always want to race and always raced.
Yeah. So first World Cup, where was it? Was it
Lords?
Lords
2016.
In the dry or the wet that year?
Wet. But I came down in dry.
Okay.
We came down in dry with the juniors. Yeah. And then, first year. No, piss wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that as a first World Cup experience? Because Lord in the wet is like...
Yeah. I remember now, because we were all like... So we all had shit numbers. Like, we all like me and... Like, because we got quite a big group over here with like Joe Breeden, Cade. Yeah. Well, Cade wasn't in juniors then. But like Joe Parfitt, my old teammate. And then there was Finn and Nat. That was all our first World Cup.
Yeah.
And I remember we went down the wall first practice and we were all just at the bottom like crashing. And then we're like, oh, we're all there. And then Finn won. I think he won. Yeah. And then I came 10th, I think.
Okay.
So yeah.
Happy with that?
I was stoked. 10th for my first World Cup.
Yeah, it must have felt nice as well to finally be racing them. Like you say, if you've been out the races for so long, to be able to be let on track and actually have a proper crack.
It's just like you're riding the same track and like stuff like that as the people you've been growing up with, like growing up watching. Yeah. So you're like, oh yeah, sick. And then I was there and finally racing. So I was loving it.
Who were you watching back then? Like, who were your heroes and heroines? Like,
I think obviously Samuel and Petey.
Yeah.
And then like they were the main ones. And then there was like, I just like Josh Weisland, Rory Cunningham actually was a big one because he was on CRC.
Yeah.
And he'd always come to the chalet. And I loved him. He was literally so nice to me, and he would always like take his time to play games with me, and
that's cool.
But Samuel was the one, literally.
Yeah. That's the sort of style icon.
Iron Horse, Spesh, and all that. Like when he was on Iron Horse and Specialized, that was just my favorite days.
Yeah,
watching those films like First and Earthed and that.
Yeah, super good.
Yeah.
So
that was those guys.
And I guess you'd had a couple of years seeing it in the flesh as well if you've been around the circuit. Like not many juniors have that opportunity. I saw Asa Vermette at Leargang last week.
Yeah.
He was there like getting a bit of trackside experience, but not many people have that opportunity. Do you think it helped you understand like where the pace was at and how some of these top riders are doing it? Because watching it on video is very different to like seeing it in real life, I think.
I don't know, because all I did was watch those guys like Samuel and that. Like I remember 2007 Champri when he came third that year and he crashed like in the piss wet and stuff like that. But when I first raced, that's when like a couple years before that the junior category came in.
Yeah.
So you didn't really worry about that because you weren't worrying about like the Sam Hills and the like Luiks and stuff back then, because I was like, well, I'm not against them, I'm against Finn and that lot.
Yeah.
So
still a fast junior couple of years.
Yeah, Finn and Matt.
Yeah.
Which are doing pretty well now.
They're doing all right, aren't they? For sure.
So they were pretty dominant. I think Finn won 5 World Cups, I think, and then Matt Walker won the other 2.
Yeah, and world champs, didn't he, I think, took...
Oh, yeah, but Finn the first year won, literally, I think he won 6 out of 7 World Cups. Yeah, 6 out of 7, and then 1 Worlds. We were like,
this is a bit tricky.
Yeah, like, getting a bit boring now.
But looking back on then, that 2 years in juniors, like, how would you rate your junior career?
Wouldn't say amazing, but all right. Like, I podiumed, did all right in the overall, like was in the top 5, like in my second year I was in the top 5 most of the races, and then if I didn't crash, but I was just either good or crashed.
But that's juniors, right?
Yeah, that's just juniors. So, and I don't know, I was just having fun, and I was so excited to be there, so happy, and I loved it at that time. So I was just yeah, loving it.
Loving it, right? And then 2018 comes around, and you got that move up into elite, and finally you are competing up against these people like that you've looked up to. Was that a hard move for you up into elite?
Honestly, at the start, it was easy, man. I loved it. I was like, this is actually way better. Like, I came 36th at my first World Cup.
I remember,
and then crashed in Leogang, but like was gonna do all right. And then after that, just started crashing even more and more, and then broke my collarbone, and then didn't really ride, or like just some other like crashes and little injuries. I just started starting to be like, oh my god, this is annoying. And then I just fell into that hole of, oh shit, I'm not that fast anymore. Like didn't feel as fast because I wasn't qualifying. I didn't qualify the first race I came back, and like it's so mental racing, like, and I was in that rut of, oh fuck. And then in 2019 I started doing like other stuff. Like Nico Vink was a legend, and he invited me and Cade to Loose Fest.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Like everyone's just having fun, everyone loves each other, like, and like we're just here for a good time and just like riding the best jumps and riding with the best guys, like, and just having fun. I was like, oh, this is what biking's like. Like, this is what I used to do when not the mad jumps, but I used to just go out and ride plenty for the fun of it.
Yeah.
And then that's when it started to go, I'd ride less to go fast and ride just to have fun.
Yeah, you started to see the opportunities the other way, I guess.
Yeah. And then I'd still like, I'd still train, but I wasn't training as much because I'd do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then it just got harder and harder to do all of it.
Yeah.
Like some people, like, well, Cade, like, because I was like, obviously I've been with Cade, and it was quite hard because Cade's like just naturally just insanely strong and stuff like that. I could go to the gym for a year straight and I still wouldn't be as strong as him if he just literally did nothing.
Yeah.
So, and at the end I was just like, oh, this is getting too much.
Yeah. Was there a pressure? You were the only elite male on the team at that point. Did you feel a pressure to sort of represent?
So obviously, like, I was the only, because we haven't had that big of a budget, like the team stuff. So, and I didn't do too bad in junior. So I was the only elite rider. And then Dennis was on the team for the juniors. Yeah. But and like especially when Tani wasn't racing, like since 2019, Tani's just been there and there with the races because she's had so many injuries and then the last year and a half off. So if you go back, if you actually look at it, she's been battling injuries and stuff since 2019.
Yeah.
So it was like, only elite rider with like another junior, and it's just like, oh, like, I do want to race and I want to do well, but I'm doing all this other stuff. And then I've got I'm an elite rider on a top team back. Like, we weren't like top team, but we're still a big team.
Yeah.
And I was like barely qualifying, and I was like, oh my God, it feels like I'm taking the piss now.
Right. Like, you feel like you're letting the team down?
Well, not like letting the team down, and like just like there's so many people that would like jump at this, and I'm just like having fun and doing like going out riding, like learning tricks instead of going fast, and so I felt like, I don't know, like I was just taking advantage of being on a team and all that lot. And now like seeing, like now this year seeing Ollie on the team, I'm like, oh, that's what the team deserved, like someone who put their full attention into racing. And
nice. And you've been in this family team like your whole life, I guess, which is great to have that family support around you. But ultimately, I guess your dad's kind of also responsible to like the sponsors and like deliverables to them. Does that make things hard sometimes? Because like you say, you're obviously finding a love for riding that's away from racing, and that's maybe taking a bit of focus away. But I'm guessing the team was like pitched around racing and race results, like, and it's your dad. It's not like it's some team manager. It's kind of
that's what I made his life hard, I think, because like the race team is a race team. A race team not like, except for like with Sam Reynolds on UR and stuff, and now with me on this team, normally they don't have a team with someone that doesn't race.
Yeah.
So obviously I don't even want to imagine how hard it was, like, but because I wasn't getting the results as a elite rider would have wanted, as your elite rider you would have wanted him to get.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time I was still doing the other stuff, so we still had that argument of, oh, he's doing everything, and like you don't just get the race results, you get like everything else, I guess.
Yeah, you get pretty good coverage on the other stuff you're doing, right? It's not just about the racing. Yeah,
like that's when Instagram was getting bigger, and well, it's always been big, but like, you know, like like Instagram and videos and like doing hardline and stuff like that. So yeah, but I guess it would have been pretty hard when Tane was injured and I wasn't doing the results that the team wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, now the team's never been better, and yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, 2022, it kind of all came to a head, I guess. Like, how did you finally come to make the decision to step away from racing? And
just like it's just like I've been wanting to do it since 2020, I think. I wanted to not. I knew I wasn't going to race for for a while.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to stop, and then I was just like, what's the point in now? Like, I had a few stuff that I wasn't right personally.
Okay.
Like, just was like, just the normal stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know what? I just want to do stuff that makes me happy. Like, I was going to the races. I didn't want to be there. I was like, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just here stressed. Like, I wasn't even stressed because of the results anymore. I was just stressed, like, just being somewhere that I didn't want to be. I was like, I had FOMO of like other stuff. And yeah, so it's just, I was like, this is a time to call it.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to just obviously just carry on taking advantage of like the opportunity I had.
Yeah.
So
fair play. Were Canyon supportive from the start on that then?
Canyon, absolutely. Like, to be honest, really, I think whenever I told my sponsors that I'm just going to do my own thing and stuff like that, I think they all went, whew, like, finally. Because
they knew it was coming.
Yeah, they knew it was coming, and they were like, well, this is obviously what we know what you want to do.
Yeah.
And like, whenever they would see me at a race, or whenever they'd see me at like a shoot or an event, they'd be like, it's two different people, really.
Yeah.
And so I think they're all happy that I did what I did, and now they seem pretty happy with what I'm doing now.
Yeah, they're able to see the benefits of it, I guess, now.
And yeah, it's just going well.
It is going well, mate. So Unhinged with Red Bull, that was your first kind of big solo project?
Yeah, or? I did some other videos before, like with Cade and with other sponsors, but this was like my first one where I choose what I do, and like there's no one telling, oh, you need to put this shot in, or you need to do this. It was just me doing what I wanted to show and what I wanted to do.
Yeah. How was it then, having that full creative freedom to like go your own way? Because did you literally you selected what you built, who you worked with, like everything? Yeah.
So I built a line with, well, I didn't really do. I was away racing, so I didn't really do much building. It was my mates, and so I hired my mate Sam Hodgson.
Yeah.
And then so all the downhill stuff was just like our local e-bike tracks, because we didn't really have time. So Hodgie and my mates, they built the line, and then I was there for like a couple of days, but then I was away racing.
Because this was in that overlap period.
So
where you were doing
I only
both.
had a week to do all the filming and to do everything. And then I was off. So I went 5 weeks away racing whilst they were building, came back, filmed for a week, and then I went off for another 5 weeks. So it was like, it was sick to finally do my own thing, but I still had that pressure. Like, I still had to go everywhere and be everywhere, and I couldn't concentrate on it. And then this year I've been just digging ever since I came back from New Zealand and Darkfest. And I've just been like actually doing, like, taking time, and doing what I want to do.
Awesome.
So yeah, so last year was sick, but now it's like,
It's even better.
Yeah, because I can actually put the time and effort into it. Like last year, it was just like, right, we got to get this done now.
Yeah.
If not, literally, if I didn't film that week, I couldn't have filmed until like the end of the year.
Yeah. Which you're pushing into bad weather. And
then
stuff.
it would have been, Joe Simpkins, the filmer.
Yeah.
He would have had to edit it in a day. So yeah, we couldn't. Yeah. So
yeah. How did you feel making that then? Because like you say, you've got a week to get it shot. You've not been there for a lot of the build because of the racing side of things. And that first big edit, I'm guessing, is pretty important, right? You're sort of putting yourself out there. Yeah. And that's where like almost your value from the future onwards comes from, is like how good your last edit was. Yeah.
Yeah, because like obviously like it's like you don't, at the moment, I don't have like the biggest massive tricks in the world, but I like to do some tricks, and I'm good at a few, and I know I just wanted to show what I like about riding, and when everyone tells you what you do want to do, I just want to you just want to make people want to go ride a bike, and so I just did what I like to ride. We thought about stuff, like features that are cool and like it just makes you want to go out and ride, and then like that's why you do like the dog pissers and like the special Ks and stuff like that, because it's just that's what I like to do. And so yeah, it was so good to actually just finally get the opportunity to just show what you like about riding. And then honestly, I didn't actually think it would, like, so many people loved it, and who eat like my mates and stuff, and who normally just take the piss. So they liked it, and I was like, oh, it's true, so it's actually not too bad. And then it's always good when it goes well.
That's amazing.
And then just like the people who put in the money in, like who gave us some money, like helped us out with it, they loved it, and I was like, oh, sweet, it's gone pretty well then.
Yeah, it's a good start.
And then and now we're doing again this year, doing another one. And then I had a couple weeks in America doing like a Vals edit with the Canyon Vals, and that was insane. We just like, they sent out like some riders into America, and then we spent like a week together in LA, and then I had a week or 8 days to dig and film in Utah. And then that was sick. And then
that's pretty cool.
So I've done that. And then I actually have a like not a custom bike, a signature frame. I have a signature frame with Canyon.
Sweet.
It's called the Kaos Theory. And so I made I filmed here for it, a bit in Utah and a bit in New Zealand for that. And then so I've got that coming out. I think it's out now. And so the Kaos Theory. So that's pretty cool. I was pretty happy when they wanted to do that.
That's very cool.
And then so you can buy the bike I'm riding now. So I thought that's always a pretty dream come true when you're a kid. You're like, oh, I want to have my own bike that people can buy.
That is pretty special.
I was like, oh, come on. So
did you have any input into like graphics and design and stuff like that? How does
I had
it work?
a few, but it was mostly, honestly, it was Canyon and my dad, really. Like we were just talking about it, and then my dad's real good at graphic designing and stuff, so he designs like our kit, like he helps us design our kits and our bikes. So he does all of that for the team and stuff. So just all of us. And then
very cool.
I was like, oh, we should do it pink, because I always like the pink bike, but like people like it, like love it, but I don't think people would buy it.
That's you got to be able to sell the thing, I guess.
So I was like, I do get that, because obviously everyone like loves the pink bike, but at the end of the day, I don't think many people would like. Obviously, some people buy it, but they're not. Like, I don't know. And black and white, it's just with some holographic stuff, is always pretty.
It's pretty cool.
And the Kaos Theory design is pretty cool. It's like So I was stoked with that. And then
awesome.
And now I've got Unhinged, planning on doing that. Filming soon.
Unhinged 2 is coming, is it? Before we move from Unhinged 1, talk us through that flip manual. Like, How many
don't
takes?
Want to talk about that.
Oh, come on.
So
but like, how do you deal with something like that? Because literally you're throwing yourself on the ground like over and over and over. Like, where's the motivation to like
honestly,
keep it going?
I was so fucking pissed off of that. Like, I'm sorry, but like I've done flip manuals for a while, and like I normally do them within the first 2 goes.
Yeah.
Like on a jump. And for some reason, like how the landing was with like a little roller going the other way, which of the you wanted to turn, like it was pulling you to the left, but you wanted to go right. And I was like knackered from the whole day filming, and it just took so long. And I was like, oh my God. And then Joe was like at the start, he was like, yeah, this is sick, blah, blah, don't worry, you'll get it. And then by like an hour in, he was like, right, come on, my camera's gonna die now, like
running out of batteries.
Yeah, like go on, land. And then but yeah, it's just sometimes that's how it goes, even with stuff that you can think that you can, or that you do normally do.
Yeah, but
sometimes it just,
you're not tempted to give up? Like, you must get to a point where you're like, I think we should just go home now.
I did be like, but I still had another day filming. So but it was like getting to like 10 o'clock at night, getting like, and the light wasn't the same anymore.
Yeah.
And we were just like, right, if I land it now, it just wouldn't look right in the camera. So like, right, may as well go home. And then came back in the morning and did it. And then,
must feel good to finally get it done.
Honestly, I wasn't even that happy with it.
Really?
I was like, that shouldn't have took that long.
Yeah.
I was just relieved that it was done.
Yeah.
I wasn't even, I was like, may as well just do a new trick now. But so it was good. And then, got it done, and
Yeah, and it went down well.
Yeah.
And like you say, you've got the Canyon support, and it means you've got riders like Sam Pilgrim, Fabio Widmer on the team. What's it like having the opportunity to ride with people like that? Because it must be fun.
Actually, Canyon signing Pilgs has been insane. Like, I've spent so much time with him this year.
Yeah.
Like, so we, like, for like everyone else, like for UK we live quite far away, but for everyone else, when we're talking to like other people, I'm like, he lives like 3.5 hours away. They're like, oh, so you must ride all the time. I'm like, no.
That's like, a long way in the UK.
In America, some Americans were asking us, and they were like, no, this is one of the first times we're riding together and we're in America. So, but I did the America trip with him, and then I've done a few demo day with him, and then some other rides, and it's so good riding with Pilgs. He's just, you give him anything and he's good at it. With and he's obviously quite funny. Yeah, and he's good to have around, and I love it.
Yeah. What about Fabio? Have you ridden with him? Or?
I think I've ridden with. Surely I'd remember Bella, but I've spent time with Fabio.
Yeah.
He's sick, and but I don't think I've ever properly, like, not as much as I have with Pilgs.
Okay.
But Fabio's insane, and obviously I've seen him ride, like when I'm there and like shows.
Yeah.
And but it would be cool to go ride with him, actually.
Definitely, man.
Should get it done.
Like to see an edit with the three of you, and at some point would be pretty cool. Who else would you say inspires you these days? Like, where do your influences come from? And maybe it's not always from mountain biking. I don't know. There's certain people that you look up to.
Yeah, honestly, it is mountain biking, but honestly, I watch my mates and stuff.
Yeah.
But, and obviously like Semnook and stuff like that. But honestly, I watch moto, BMX, and skateboarding.
Okay.
And like snowboarding and stuff like that. But like, I honestly just watch Axel most of the time. Axel Hodges.
Yeah.
I watch him loads. And then I like Kevin Peraza and Pat Casey, like legend.
Yeah.
Like they were just insane to watch. And Kevin still is amazing to watch. But like Pat was just insane. And I'd always watch like his videos and on Insta and stuff. And then mostly Axel, I'd say.
Okay.
I put his vlogs on, and then I don't really watch many vlogs. I watch Pilgs, I think. Pilgs are like the only mountain bike vlogs I really watch. And then then Axel.
Yeah. Nice.
So
So has this move across to doing all this stuff like changed your mental health? Like, do you feel different in yourself?
Personally, like as I was saying before, if you saw me at the races last year, you would have just think I was a miserable fucker. I
I think I walked past the pit in Fort William, and I just remember you with like your head down, like.
Yeah, Fort William was. I just crashed at Darkfest.
Yeah,
because I didn't really ride Darkfest much last year because I injured myself within like the second or third day, and then did something to my shoulder, and like it just wasn't right. And Fort William isn't really the race where you want to not be good.
Yeah.
And I was just hating life at the moment. I was like, fuck, why am I here? Like, I shouldn't even be here. I should really be like trying to get the shoulder better, but I'm just trying to race because you feel like you got to race.
Yeah.
And big change.
Better human.
Yeah. So now I'm just like, I'm just doing what I want to do. I'm like digging with my mates, riding with mates. We have a pretty good scene where I live. So yeah, and I'm like traveling to all these things now. Like I just been before Crankworx, I was at this new jam called Backyard Battles.
Okay.
And that's a new monster event. And we went to the Russo brothers and Clemens Cordela's place.
Yeah.
And we just had 3 days of just having a sick jam.
Nice.
And just riding and like, yeah, just having fun. So
yeah.
And then we got like, yeah, just some, like I did Darkfest before that. And
Darkfest always looks like a really good event. Is that one of the more fun ones to travel to?
Darkfest is honestly, I wait for that. Like as soon as it's like done, I'm like, right, 365 days, and then this is back again. Like honestly, I love it. I go, I always try and go there a bit before, like a few days before, just because it's just like you're in like the best place ever in Cape Town, like Stellenbosch.
Yeah,
and then like the vibe there is insane. Obviously the course is insane, and the weather is like, so it's South Africa, and then I just, that is one of my favorite events.
Yeah, always looks good. How do you get up to speed at an event like that? Like the jumps and the features there are insanely huge.
Like the first year I went, it was like you're obviously petrified, but honestly they do such a good job at building them that they look massive. But at the same time you're like, well, I can see how that works. Because obviously you've seen videos, but then they're so good at building those guys in the digger. Yeah. Like that. They just look safe as well.
Okay.
So I remember the first year, I think I did like 10 T2Bs all in all. Yeah. And like that was like scary working up to it. And then this year, first we had a session in the morning at the Hell's End, where the Hell's End compound. Yeah. And then the first time we went up to the top, me and Hodgie did a T2B. He crashed on the step up. He tried to do a flat spin first run, and there's a quite funny video. Like he crashes and blah blah, but then we just carried on. But then, first time that me and Hodgie went to the top this year, we did a T2B.
No way.
Yeah, so
on all the biggest features.
Yeah, on just like the line, and then and after that we just carried on lapping. So now we've got quite you're quite used to it, but still every single time you get to the bottom and you're just like, get me back up that hill now. Yeah. Like, I want to, you just want to, it's just so much fun.
Amazing. How do you work out the speed for stuff like that? Or is it just like the speed is given from the run-in kind of thing? Like, it's that well built?
Like you look at it and honestly, you just listen to, so obviously when I first went, the line had already been there. Yeah. So, so you just listen to whoever's been there, I to Ramsey and to all that lot. You just go like, oh, what do you do? And they tell you, and then you watch, I watched them back then, and then you just listen really. You can't really just go there and be like, no, this is what I want to do, and stuff like that. Yeah, you just be like, oh, what do I do? And then you go like, oh, thank you, and then that's what happened at Loose Fest when I went, because obviously I'd never ridden jumps that big. Yeah. Except for at Hardline, but they're back then they weren't even as big as that. Hardline jumps were big, but they weren't massive. Yeah, and then you go to Loose Fest and you go like, what the fuck are these? And then I was just to Nico, just oh, what do you do? And Nico was so helpful. Yeah, and just everyone there was so helpful. And you just they'll do nothing on the first jump, just let the bike ride it. Then after that, tuck and pull as hard as you can. But yeah, so just listen to whoever's been there, and then you make like, obviously when you ride it might change, like if you follow someone you might be too close, so stuff like that, so it'll always change like that, but mostly just do what the others say, and then, but now I don't mind opening stuff.
Okay.
Like at Hardline I don't mind doing stuff, and even when we go on the first day, I don't like, it's normally like me and Bernard and G who do it, because I don't really like watching like for the first time. Like, I like watching when people are used to it.
Yeah, but you don't want to see anyone.
I don't want to, like,
up.
when people are doing jumps for their first time, we don't know, like when we do jumps for the first time, we don't normally look the best.
Yeah, fair.
And so I don't really like watching, because then it just like, I'm just like, yeah, nah.
Puts you off, I guess.
Yeah,
it looks sketchy. Like,
I'm like, that looks sketchy now.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, I'll probably do it a bit differently. Because I like, at the World Cups as well, that's what it used to be like. I go a bit slower and I pop. And then some people have followed me, and then they've cased the jump and hurt themselves because I do the jump differently.
Yeah.
So, so you just find someone who does it the same as you, and then,
Fair play. Well, and like World Cup seem on the outside relatively friendly. Like everyone seems to get on, but ultimately you are up against each other. Is the scene when you come into like Darkfest and Hardline and some of these other events, like, is it significantly more friendly? It feels like there's a different vibe.
Yeah, like World Cups is racing like at the top and blah blah. So you'll obviously have some people who, like, a bit different when they're actually, like not together or face by face and stuff like that. But so that's what, because obviously it's racing, and you always have like if you watch Formula One and everything like that, you always have like little rivalries. And so I've even had it with some riders where you're like, you like each other, but you're at the end of the day you're like, well, we're not mates, are we? Like, we just know each other because we race against each other.
That's true.
And then when you go to one of the fest or to Crankworx even, or Hardline, like, even though you're racing at Hardline, you're still there for like, you're living together or you're in the same house, and I know you're always like, you're there together for the week, so even that's different. Like, it's a race, but you're just, that feels more like a fest, Hardline.
Yeah.
And at the fest, like, that's just, you're literally there just to have fun with the others, and I love that. And you're just like, no one, like, there's no like little bitchiness, or it's just like, I don't know, just there for the same cause, just to have fun on our bikes.
Very nice. Yeah, you mentioned Hardline. You've been doing it for a few years now.
Yeah, 2018 was my first year. I think. Oh no, 2017. Yeah, 2017 was my first year.
Talk us through that as an event, because it's the only race that you're still doing, so there must be something different about it.
Yeah, that race is honestly Red Bull Hardline. That was my first like proper big event outside of World Cups.
Yeah.
And Red Bull UK are honestly one of, like, they're insane. They treat us like if we're kings that week. Like, they do so much for us. And you're just riding a gnarly track and trying to go fast down it. Back then it used to piss it down all the time, so you're always shit scared. Like, because Hardline is hard, obviously hard, but like it's not too bad in the dry. Like, it's a hard line to race, but it's not like, you could actually, and it's still scary, like doing the big jumps and stuff, but you can get used to it.
Okay.
But in the wet, man, fucking hell, like the one like there's two sections that I actually not hate, but I don't like.
Okay.
It's the rock slab at the top.
Yeah.
When that's wet, I literally, every time I go into it, I'm like, I can just feel my like side burning from the rocks and stuff. I'm just like, oh, just get down here.
Is this the one where you're kind of turning right to get into the woods? Yeah.
So that's probably why I do it quite slow. But in the dry, that's all right.
Yeah.
But in the wet, and the section after the road gap, the free drops.
Yeah.
In the dry, you can literally go round that right and just pin it down, and it's what you have to do in the wet. because you don't want to touch your brakes that much and you don't want to skid on those rocks.
Yeah.
But it's so sketchy. Like you're just slipping on rocks, and then you got that massive head slam at the bottom.
Yeah.
And yeah, when it's wet, you're just like, oh my god, it's actually quite a hard track. Yeah, you're actually like, it feels like when you've been riding for so long and stuff, you don't like you get scared, but you don't get scared about tracks.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah.
And this is where you're just like, oh my god, you're going back up in the lift, and you're just like, oh.
Again, an event when people don't do that many top to bottoms over the weekend, eh?
Like you don't do full, like nowadays. We do quite a few full runs.
Okay.
Like now, because it's been quite dry the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally no. Normally I'll just do like stop, push back up, stop, and then like maybe do a full run or two before qualies. But yeah. So yeah, if it's dry, it's a nice weekend. Except when you case the jump on the back and then you fuck yourself. But if not, it goes pretty well.
Yeah.
But in the wet, it's actually a pretty hard week.
Nice. And it's progressed a bit over the years, I'd say. Like the riders seem more in tune with it. They've kind of got used to it.
Yeah.
But as a result, Dan's just been pushing it on that bit further every year as well.
Yeah. So like when it first started, like jumps were not many. Like there were big jumps, but it was mostly just like you only rode big jumps if you went to like a fest series or if you had like somewhere like that. So I guess it was a lot like scarier. And nowadays, like even bike parks now have started to build bigger jumps. So you obviously, people are going to be more like controlled and more like, oh yeah, I can do that because I've been riding jumps all year round. Except for like, but before it was like, oh my god, I've just been riding downhill tracks and now I've got to send a metal kicker. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, now there's those 2 new jumps with the on-off before. Yeah. And yeah, they're pretty big, but you just go straight really and just pull.
You make it sound so easy, mate.
Oh, yeah, because it's not, but it is. Yeah. Like, and like it isn't easy when it goes wrong. Yeah. Okay. But if it goes right, then they are actually easy, and you do it, and you're like, oh sweet. Yeah. So yeah.
Was it you that cased one of them?
Yeah, I cased it massively.
Yeah.
One of the just shit happens. Yeah, one of the first through them with Bernard. So I opened up the on-off. Yeah. And then Bernard opened up the 2 next jumps. Yeah. And then had that big crash.
Yeah, you went too deep on one
too
of them,
deep,
right?
yeah, and then his wheel exploded. And then the next day, can't really remember, but I think I was one of the first ones to do it. Yeah. And then just doing laps was all good. And then we started to do full runs. And the wind there is quite tricky. Okay. So especially now with all those trees gone, that used to be the waterfall edge, with those jumps that went like that. Yeah. And now it's just straight jumps, pretty big. And when the jumps go bigger, then you got to start thinking about the wind. So because at the Fest series, we don't ride during the day really. Sometimes we ride morning or afternoons or in evenings because of the wind. Because you don't want to go and you don't want to jump in the wind. And that's what is quite sketchy about Hardline, because not many people get that who race, because they just race. Yeah. And they're like, well, we got to get down. I'm like, yeah, but you still got to be safe. Like, so I was doing a full run, got a bit windy on the first jump. So I was like, on the first big one, I got a bit blown. So I was like, I tucked, and I thought I could squash the next jump and stay low. Yeah. And as soon as I squashed it, I was like, I'm gone. Oh man. Yeah. I wasn't going to wear chest plate as well. I wasn't going to wear my back plate because I was like, and then because I don't normally wear one. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'll probably wear it because it's Hardline. And then honestly, I cracked the chest plate. Whoa. And I was like, fuck me. If I didn't wear that, my chest would be fucked. Yeah. So, just one of those mistakes of, I tried to, squash it to stay low, but you can't really squash those jumps.
Lucky to walk away from that, eh?
Yeah, I walked away with just bruised ribs. Yeah. Or, I couldn't really, to be fair, nothing was broken or done.
Yeah.
But for the next 2 months, I couldn't like move properly and I couldn't breathe.
Yeah,
Like
huge impact.
It took like at least 2 months until I could actually like fully breathe properly and go for like rides and not feel like I'm really unfit.
Madness. So do you think like events like Hardline have a place in racing? Like, do you think it's a good direction that it's pushing racing in?
Yeah, I'd love to see like more of that, and I would jump at the chance to do it. But yeah, so I was still like doing Hardline. I'm still racing Hardline this year because I can't wait for it, because it is. Yeah, it's like, because it's technical and it's got big jumps and it's a fun week. So yeah, I think more races should be like that. But it's hard, man. Like there is still some people that turn up every year and they do like be like, nah, I'm all good. Like, and they just go.
Yeah.
Because it is still kind of sketch.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the opportunity to hurt yourself is pretty big, I guess.
So to everyone that comes new, like, fair play, because it is quite a hard track.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see our riders like Jackson, who's going to, I would assume, be doing pretty well in the overall at that point in the season, like whether he's still willing to take that risk. But maybe Jackson doesn't see it as a risk, I don't know.
Yeah, I've never really got that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like riding the bike is dangerous anyway. Like, you can literally hurt yourself. Like, I've hurt myself more doing shitty little things than racing Hardline.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a Hardline 5 or 6 times and I've injured myself more outside of it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So I've never really got people, like, that's what was one big thing. Like, people were quite worried about having it in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But I was like, you're literally going to be riding your bike anyway at that time. Like, you might not be at a World Cup, but you will be riding your bike, and there's just as much chance of you crashing.
True.
So you may as well come and do a sick week, and we may as well do it in where we think there will be sun in Wales.
Yeah.
Than in September, where we're 90% sure it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So, I've always thought that riding the bike is it's dangerous no matter if you're just riding down the road or.
Yeah, true. It's when you take focus away, things tend to go wrong. And I'm guessing at Hardline, you're pretty damn focused.
Oh, you're focused the whole time, and like, it's weird. We like talk to ourselves, and we're like, it's like you ride it and you get comfortable with it, but you still have to respect the track and respect the hill. Like, you can't take the piss, because then it will bite back.
Yeah,
and it's funny because, and then when it's pissing it down and we're like, you still got to go up. One year it was pissing it down, windy, and we're like, fuck me, it's getting quite sketchy now. Like, come on. And then Bragg was like, yeah, we're just gladiators. And we're just like, and Is
there a dialogue in your head as you're coming down that track? Are you like talking to yourself, or are you like fully focused and not really thinking? Does that make sense?
I don't really know what I do. I think you're like, oh yeah, I hit that well.
Okay.
Or like, yeah, like I'm normally just like, oh, go on, like ride, like have like, yeah. And when I do hit something good, I do just go like, oh, come on, that was sick.
That's
like,
nice.
Carry on. Yeah. And then if you do hit something bad, you're like, oh, I'm like because that track, I know it pretty well now and I love it.
Yeah.
And I know where I'm good and when I can serve myself and where I can push.
Yeah.
And so if I do something wrong, I'm like, oh, okay, then I guess I can hit this bit a bit. I can, yeah.
You know where to like catch it back.
Yeah, and I know where to like, so when, like, as soon as you hit the wood on the road gap, you chill.
Yeah.
I'm just like, right, as soon as I hit that wood, you like, and like, yeah. And then that's where you're like going to chill. And then I'm like, okay, now back to, like, yeah. I don't know. I kind of, the runs where you just blank out and you just ride and you can't remember it, I feel like that's where you do the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if you remember where you messed up and where you did all of that, then I don't think I was riding as good as I could have.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if I do a run and I'm like, oh, that was sick, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I think that's where you ride the best, because you're just focusing on that, and you weren't focusing about
yeah.
what you were doing, or you were just like in the zone. And yeah,
fair comment. And there's been talk of a hardline series like floating around, which would be pretty interesting to see. Like, do you think that's a good thing? And if you were in charge of it, like, what would that series look like?
I think a hardline series would be amazing. Like, because there's so many places that you could do an insane hardline, and the whole concept of hardline is like just good. I love it. So more hardlines, I'm up for it, and sign me up.
Yeah. Whereabouts in the world, like, are there places you visited that you think would be perfect for it?
I think you can kind of guess the ones, really. It would be Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and some other ones. Maybe some South American ones. But I guess it just depends on how expensive it is, because it is quite. Like, I don't think running a hardline is pretty cheap. So, I guess until they can figure that out, then we don't have a series. But if they do ever figure it out and we can do a series, then I think it will be one of the best series out there. Yeah,
it's a huge audience on Red Bull when it's on, so it's obviously super popular.
It's like it's because with Rampage is insane, and I would jump at the opportunity to do that as well. But that's still like it's like slopestyle. It's like a judged event, so it's I guess it's harder for the normal people to know how to. If you haven't watched bikes, I guess it's quite harder for them to see who can do well and who can't. But at a race and at hardline, it's like you can. It's just the clock.
It's simple.
It's simple. It's either you go fast or you don't. And then that's how it's much easier for someone to watch that, I guess. And then you know who's doing what and stuff like that.
Do you think we'd see more of the World Cup riders like crossover if there was more hardlines, if it became a bit more of a series?
I think yes and no, because if you're thinking about it, how it's going now, hardline is getting bigger. And hopefully it's going to get bigger. So that's more of those similar tracks. They're not going to build a hardline in Vancouver. And do a little Loma down the hill. It's not. It's still going to have to be. And especially, I would think in Canada you could build some stuff even better and bigger because it's Canada. You have that dirt, not Welsh slate. And so, I guess it would. If you're scared about going to the hardline here, then you should be equally as I think the track should be equally as scary, no matter, because it's hardline. So so I don't know. I think so, because I've never told anyone who said, "Oh, should I do hardline?" I'm like, if you think you can do it, jump at the opportunity to do it, because it's a sick week and it's so much fun. So. I don't think anyone's ever heard, a rider has not heard from another rider going, "Oh, I don't want to do hardline. They said it was shit."
Everyone loves it.
Everyone loves it. Every rider loves it, and
Interesting. Let's watch this space for hardline series. It'd be cool to see it get up and running.
I'd love it.
What about Rampage then? Because it's clearly something that would be a really exciting thing for you to get involved in. How does that all work? Because you're connected into Red Bull, you know them well. What does it take to actually get to Rampage?
I honestly, I don't know that well.
Okay.
I know that before, if you send in videos, or if you've gone there a few times and gone to Utah, and if you've done top 10 before, I think, or top, so I think it's top 10 before who used to go, and then after that it's wild cards. But I don't really know, to be fair.
Okay. But you've now been to Utah.
I've now been to Utah, and if I ever got the chance, I'm always going to put myself out there to do it, because I think it would be an insane thing to be a part of and do it. So I'm going to try, and then if I ever get the chance, I'll jump and say yes.
Nice. So was that Utah trip like a conscious effort to tick one of the boxes, or was that just something that came together?
Honestly, Canyon came up with the idea of doing this Vals edit.
Yeah.
And they were like, I was like, they're going to send you to, like, and then we're talking about it, like, yeah, we're going to send you guys to America, and there's going to be 2 athletes in each. So 6 of us, with Pilgs being the 7th. And then they're like, they're like, Gabs, you go to LA, Griffin, you go to Vegas, and they're like, oh, Kaos, you're going to Utah. I was like, oh, fuck yes, so I'm going to Utah. And then, so yeah, that's how it happened. Okay. But yeah, and then, yeah, I don't want to, because if I don't really think about Rampage, then I won't get disappointed about not going.
Yeah, no. Okay. I know what you mean.
Yeah, like, obviously I'd want to go, but I'm not gonna, I don't want to just try and do all my riding just to get into Rampage. Yeah. Because then I feel like you'd lose on other stuff. So if I can do what I'm doing and then I can go to Rampage, then fuck yeah. But I don't want to start, because I feel like then I'd start, that's the whole point of the racing side. You'll put all your focus onto one thing, and if it doesn't go the way you want it, then you're obviously going to be disappointed.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, just have fun, do my own thing, and then obviously like put my foot in the door.
Yeah.
And like through the,
see what happens.
But yeah, if it happens, then hell yeah.
Nice. So what is next for you? You've got Unhinged 2 filming coming up, obviously. But
Unhinged 2 filming, then Hardline, and then Whistler, and then just like other, like there's a couple of those backyard battles.
Okay.
A few fest that I'm gonna try get to, and but mostly just the filming. I'm not gonna try and just do it in the block.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to, like, if I have a week there, I'll do a week of that filming.
Yeah.
But then not try and fit all the filming in. Just take the time, and then if after the week we haven't finished, then okay, we'll just, like, I'll go do my, like, Whistler and stuff, and then come back and start doing it again.
Yeah.
And then filming it, and then just take my time with it and do a good job.
Nice, man. It sounds ace. Well, we'll start wrapping up. Before we ask our final 4 questions, I just want to ask what advice you would give to other riders that were maybe in your position, like riders that are talented both in the racing and away from the racing, and they're trying to work out, like, where to head for them. Is there any advice you'd give people that you think would help? Yeah,
I know it seems like a lot of people would say, like, oh, you hate racing and stuff like that. I actually love racing.
Yeah.
I just didn't like how the World Cups were going and how I felt at them.
Yeah.
So I thought, so if you love racing and if you love the World Cups and you love riding your bike, then do both.
Yeah.
But there's no point in doing something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So if you're loving the racing, then do the racing. And if you're loving the free riding and the anything else, then do that. So don't feel like you need to do something, because at the end of the day, you're just going to do it worse than if you just put your focus on one thing.
Yeah. Wise words, mate. All right, we'll hit these final 4 questions.
Yeah.
First one of those: if our listeners had £150 to spend to improve their performance on a bike or to have more fun on a bike, what would you recommend they go spend it on?
What, like part-wise?
Yeah, it could be parts or coaching or anything, literally anything. You just got 150 quid in your pocket.
Can you pay for much of 150 quid in mountain biking world?
Not these days, mate.
I'll go get your lunch, mate. You need to eat. 100. Yeah, I would actually just spend it on maybe fuel and money to go out with your mates.
Yeah.
Like, just spend it. I think I've always said that if you're having fun and you're with your mates and you'll just carry on, and if you're not satisfied with where you're at, you always want to try and improve, then just go out with your mates and have fun, and you'll see that grow.
Yeah.
And if you start, like, worrying, thinking about it too much, then so I'd go spend your money on fun stuff with your mates.
Nice. I like that answer a lot, man. All right, next one. If you could wind back the clock and sit down with yourself age 16, how old are you now? 23. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
ride a motorbike more.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've started to ride a motorbike, and oh my god, I got like my arm pumps so much better.
Like,
and
pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I struggled with arm pumps so bad when I was racing.
Okay.
And that's one of the main reasons why I hated it. Because I couldn't finish a run. Well, I'd finish a run, but I'd be like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, ride a motorbike.
What motorbike you got?
I got a Beta 300.
Okay.
RR.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
So just out on like going out enduring, and yeah, I love it. So yeah, buy a motorbike.
There's the arm pump fixer.
Yeah.
Like it. All right. Next one. If you could have a coaching session from anyone, past or present, who would it be, and what would you want to learn from them?
Who would it be? If you would have said 5, that would be so much easier because I got so many people in my head.
On, you can have a few.
Okay, so my top 3 would be Samantha, Cade, and Samuel.
Okay, and what would you want to like pick from each of those 3 riders?
Samantha would just be like, just like following. I wouldn't even want like. I would just want to follow him.
Okay, genuinely want to talk.
Like when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was all I wanted to do when I was a kid was just do a run with Samantha and just follow him, and and then Cade's just like you. Everyone sees how good he is, but I live with him, and seeing what he does every day, and how he rides and what he rides, like anything he touches with some wheels, he's amazing at it. So, and he does teach me so many things like trick rides and stuff like that. So yeah, Cade would be like the tricks, and stuff, and then Samuel would just be like insides and just how to go fast. Yeah,
it's a shame that he's out with that foot injury.
Because it was like. It was so sick to see his name back on the start list. Yeah. Obviously, didn't like. It's going to be way harder now with how the sport is, and like with how fast everyone is. But still, seeing his name on that start list was like, "Oi, come on, the king is back."
Yeah, so good. And he seemed to be like getting a bit better. Yeah. Like speed was coming, but wasn't to be. Maybe we'll see him towards the end of the season.
Hopefully, at the end of the season. Yeah. And shame because we were going to Val de Sol and. Obviously, everyone remembers his run at Val de Sol.
Classic Sam Hill track.
Classic. So, shame, but we'll see at the end of the year, hopefully. Maybe a Mont St. Anne. Yeah. See him swinging off it. And he's done pretty well there, so.
Yeah, he definitely has.
After an injury, so maybe.
Yeah, true. We'll see. All right, last one. What do you do every day that you feel benefits you?
What do I do every day? I'm going to go over my first answer. At least see one of my mates or... Okay. Yeah. Like, because, it's quite hard because, not... Like, when you're an athlete or when you're a, rider... Yeah. It's quite hard to have a normal life because all your mates work throughout the day. Yeah. And... Whenever they finish work, you're like, "Oh, come on, let's go out." And they're like, "Well, I've got work in the morning. I've been working all day. Like, I don't really like." Yeah. So it's quite hard, and you can be on your own a few times. Yeah, a bit isolated. Yeah, a bit isolated. So, and even with normal people, how they feel in their normal life. So I think go see your mate and at least have a few hours or an hour in a day where you're just having fun with your mate or just chilling. Yeah. So, I like to be with my mates because it's just fun.
Yeah, that crew you've got around here has been super important, eh?
Yeah, we've got our crew here, and we honestly spend pretty much every day together. Yeah, and then so have some good people around you, and
nice one. I like it, man. Well, it's going to be real exciting to follow where things go for you. I feel like you're just getting started on a pretty exciting adventure.
Definitely. It's just started this year and honestly couldn't be loving it anymore.
Ace, man. So, it's good to see you happy and stoked on what you're doing. If people want to follow, where's the best place for them to look?
Just at the moment, just my Insta. Yeah. If you like what I do, then and if it inspires you to go out riding, then Insta. I'm not at that point where I want to make vlogs yet, even though people ask. I'm not at that point yet. It's so much work. I see Pilgs doing it, and it's literally a full-time job. Yeah. And I feel like I just got out of a full-time job with racing. So, at the moment. So, just Insta, and then keep an eye out on Red Bull Bike for a sick video coming up, hopefully.
Nice one. When's that due out? Have you got a rough feel? Or?
Hopefully it'll be out near the same time as last year.
Okay.
So
back end of the year then.
Back end of the year.
Yeah.
Like end of October, November time.
Nice.
And hopefully that Unhinged 2 can do the same. Hopefully that can just make people stoked and
get people out on bikes.
And then just make people stoked, really.
Nice one. Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure chatting.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And, hope it goes well at Hardline and into the future.
Oh, definitely. Big up.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.